to Kansas City, Missouri. Interleague Baseball, the Rockies taking on the Royals in Game 2 of what will actually be a 4-game series this year, because in August, the Royals will visit Coors Field. Welcome inside Kauffman Stadium. We're set for a little afternoon baseball. Upstairs with my partner, Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. Glad as always that you are along. Last night, the Rockies ran into big game James. James Shields shut him down. A 5-1 victory for the Royals last night. And of late, the Rockies have seen some number ones who are on their game.
Well, think about the two in Cincinnati that really shut him down, Cueto and then Homer Bailey. And last night, it was the same from Shields. A lot of strikeouts from the offense. There's 12 strikeouts in the ballgame for Colorado, 0 against the Kansas City Royals from the Rockies staff. So that trend has to change today. And you look at the pitching matchups. It's going to be an interesting matchup today.
Well, let's talk about the matchup. Jolie Chacin will go for the third time for the Rockies against the veteran left-hander Jason Vargas. Now, Chacin, in his last outing from the third inning on, looked a whole lot like the guy we've seen in the past.
Yeah, who won 14 ball games last year, and he was really confident in those last 4 innings against Cincinnati. He only gave up 4 hits, and 2 earned runs were early in the game. After that, that became the Chacin we're used to seeing, where he's attacking the strike zone, keeping the ball down into the zone, getting the ground ball out, and you can see the confidence build with each and every pitch, and I look for good things for him coming out and facing this Kansas City Royals team today. Conversely, on the other side is Jason Vargas, coming off a phenomenal performance against one of his former clubs in Seattle last outing. 7 innings, just 3 hits, 0 earned runs. His numbers against Colorado are awful, and that's with 3 different ball clubs. So it's not like just one time, but Vargas is not an overpowering pitcher. He's a soft-throwing left-hander where he'll top out maybe at 89, maybe 90 miles an hour, but it's going to be a curveball changeup type of thing from Vargas. And both of these pitchers have to make sure that they pitch on the corners if they can't leave anything over the middle part of the plate.
All right, the Rockies trying to bounce back. They've not lost 3 in a row all year. They've lost their last 2, trying to avoid that distinction today when they take on Vargas. When we come back, we'll talk about the first quarter of the season. It is in the rear view mirror now. We'll have that next.
And we welcome you back to Kansas City. Jenny Kavnar with you, Field Level. Now, when the Colorado Rockies began the 2014 season, they knew they had some depth on this roster. They just didn't know that it would be challenged so soon in the season. 3 starting pitchers have spent significant time on the disabled list, as have 2 starting position players. Yet, the Rockies, they're still in second place in the National League West. And that's something that the Senior Vice President of Major League Operations, Bill Guyvette, is proud of.
I think last year, we had a good club coming out the same way. When we had those injuries, it showed up that we didn't have the depth and the quality of the people that were stepping in and experience level. So to have those injuries right away this year and to see the players that we have show up that we thought were certainly very capable of performing well at this level, it's been great.
With a quarter of the season in the books, the numbers tell it all for Colorado. In their 23 wins, the Rockies' offense averages over 7 runs a game with 12 hits and 1+ home runs. And the pitchers, they have a 2.45 ERA in those wins. In losses, the team's just hitting 2.49 with a 6.24 ERA. So the formula, very simple for Colorado. It runs through its offense. That's something they're going to try and find here today at Kansas City before they leave. Just 5 hits for Colorado last night, facing a tough lefty in Jason Vargas today. The offense needs to go here in Kansas City. They're going to try and do that next. Rockies baseball is coming up.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. By Inova Cancer Care, advanced non-surgical treatment of prostate cancer in only 5 sessions. Visit InovaCC.com. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at Southwest.com. Well, as Jenny described a few minutes ago, it is a very cool day. It was a cool ball game last night in terms of temperature. I guess Kansas City getting what Denver got a couple of days ago. Maybe not the snowfall, but they're getting the cooler temperatures. In fact, the high is only supposed to be in the low 60s today in Kansas City. Rockies ready to go offensively. They've been shut down the last 2 ball games. Their lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at Southwest.com. Charlie Blackmon will lead it off. Brandon Barnes will be in the 2 spot. He's had good success in his career against Vargas. Tulowitzki, Cargo, Arenado, Morneau, Drew Stubs in center field. Michael McHenry's behind the plate. Charlie Culberson getting the start at second base. And you'll note that Cargo is DHing today. So here we go. Jason Vargas, and the first pitch from the former Long Beach State dirtbag. It's low, ball one.
Yeah, second round in 2004 out of Long Beach State. Kind of took the long route to get there.
And that ball is just foul. Pulled down the right field line, and it's 1-1. Game time temperatures 57 degrees and a slight breeze at about 10 miles an hour out of the north. The numbers on Vargas are brought to you by Inova Cancer Care. Treat prostate cancer in only 5 sessions. Visit InovaCC.com.
Well, he's coming off arguably his best start of the year against Seattle in his last one. 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs. And in that, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts. He's not a strikeout guy. Even just by the totals, 32 and 53 and a third. He's trying to get you to get yourself out.
And that misses. And you accurately described Jason Vargas. I mean, he's going to be on the accelerator. Doesn't have a big accelerator, but on and off with that changeup's got to live on the edges.
Well, and he's not afraid to throw the changeup to a left-hander, which is really unusual. Most pitchers don't like to do that into left-handers because that'll go down into the sweet spot of their swing.
This is his first year with the Royals, signed as a free agent after spending last year with the Angels. And Charlie, who's the second toughest guy in the National League to strike out, went all the way down, checked his swing, and it's 3-2. Rockies need a quick jump. Held to a run on 5 singles last night. First game all year they did not produce an extra base hit. And this is popped up and it's playable. Vargas saying, I can catch it, but I'm not supposed to. And Salvador Perez ends up making the catch, though.
It's not an easy play for him.
No, it's not. Hosmer had a long run because he was playing 30 feet behind the bag. So Blackmon pops out.
Take a look at the pitch usage for Jason Vargas. As we talked about, he's 87 miles an hour. Might touch 89 if he's lucky, a little gust of wind behind it, but he'll throw it 56% of the time, and he'll work at both sides, but not really a cut fastball. Changeup, curveball. Curveball is kind of the sweeping type. It's not the 12-6 over the top.
And Barnes a foul tip. It's 0-1. Vargas has had success. Last year, he was the American League Pitcher of the Month in May. The year before with Seattle, he was the American League Pitcher of the Month in July. So he has spells where he is tough to hit.
That reminds me of Randy Wolf.
A little bit, yeah.
You know, that type of guy that's 6 feet tall. Well, just knows how to pitch. He's been around the big leagues a long time. 4-year deal to sign with Kansas City.
1-2. Barnes 4 for 6 against Vargas in his career. 31-year-old who finished up at Long Beach State, overlapped with Tulowitzki there, but started his career at LSU. 2 outs. Take a look at Kansas City defensively. It's brought to you by Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com today to learn more. In the outfield, Alex Gordon yet to make an error. A Gold Glover. Lorenzo Cain was a finalist for a Gold Glove last year. Nori Aoki. Mustakas can field at third. Swinging the bat's been tough for him. Escobar terrific. Hosmer won a Gold Glove last year. And Salvador Perez won a Gold Glove last year. So they're solid defensively. And Tulowitzki swings and misses. A number of swings and misses already induced by Jason Vargas. And last night the Rockies went down a season high 12 times.
Yeah, and a lot of those were early strikes with the fastball. And that's what we're seeing today from Vargas. It's not get ahead with something off speed and then finish him off fastball.
1 ball and 1 strike. Turned that over. That's a pitch that looks tantalizing. You think it's going to end up in the middle of the plate, and it fades, and it's not even a strike.
No, and it really turns the wrist over when he gets ready to release the baseball, and that causes the fade to go away from the right-hander. I mean, you have to have the mindset when you step in the box today, go the other way. And if you happen to pull it, it's just because you just reacted inside. And it goes for lefties too. The same thing, because he's not gonna blow you away with this fastball. I mean, guys that throw 95, you have to get started earlier. But 86, 87, no, you don't have to. You can react on that.
These are guys that end up giving you the comfortable collar. That's where where that phrase emanated. Guys like Vargas.
Yeah, and Greg Maddux towards the end of his career, that's what he was. He didn't scare you when you stepped in the box, but at the end of the day, you were 0 for 4, and you wonder, how did he ever get me out?
And Randy Johnson, you were 0 for 4, but it was uncomfortable.
Right.
Tulo steps back out. 3-2.
And most times on a 3-2 count, you would not sit off speed and react fastball. Vargas is not a problem.
And a good eye by Troy. He stayed off that changeup. We talk about in-bat, within an at-bat adjustments. That was an adjustment right there if you think of the first swing and miss he had.
Because he recognized the pitch sequence, the patterns that Jason Vargas was throwing. In the at-bat adjustment, he went from, okay, he's going to try to beat me with the fastball, to, no, he's going to try to get me out with the changeup.
Now, Cargo has swung the bat better against lefties so far this year than against righties. He's hitting .306 against lefties, .243 against righties.
Talked about it a couple weeks ago, because it forces you to keep the right shoulder in and stay on the ball longer.
And that's a foul ball. Cargo's had a tough road trip. He's 4 for 23 on the trip. In fact, offensively, the Rockies in their last 2 ball games have scored 2 runs, and they have 9 hits, 7 of which are singles.
And more strikeouts than what you're accustomed to seeing from this club.
Yep. And that's as easy a play as you can have. Rockies go quietly in the first inning. Tulowitzki's left the board. We'll see Jolie Chassin when we come back to Kansas City. In the top of the first. Ed Yost's lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. It'll begin with Nori Aoki, who has hit close to 400 at home this year. He'll be followed in the lineup by Eric Hosmer. He comes in at 312. Then Billy Butler, Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon. Johnny Giavotella again at second base. Lorenzo Cain. The only change from yesterday is Mike Mustakas, who has struggled mightily with the bat. He'll be in the 8th spot. Here's Jolis, and his first pitch is in there for a strike. See if he can build, Huey. And that's, I think, not only what everybody who's looking at home, we're looking at, and the folks in that dugout looking at, see if he can build on what he did after that second inning in Cincinnati when he was matched up with Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, I just think he got to the point where he said, hey, I need to make sure that I'm pitching in the big leagues. I get back to my stuff. And the numbers for Chacin, 0-1. You see it, 4.91 ERA. Nice play from Troy to get that first ground ball out. And I think that's key for Chacin to lower the batting average against a 286, to work back down into the strike zone again. But recognize what got you to the big leagues, what's worked for you in your previous 100 starts. And that was to find your fastball, but utilize that slider.
Those numbers brought to you by Inova Cancer Care. Treat prostate cancer in only 5 sessions. Visit InovaCC.com. Eric Hosmer with 1 out. Now, one of the things you were talking about that's made Jolie successful, a 14-game winner last year, is getting the ball on the ground. So far this year, he has a ground ball rate of 38%, which is not good. Last year, he was at 48%. The Rockies, as a club, are right about 50%, which is 3rd best in baseball. And so that was a good sign, seeing Aoki put the ball on the ground. You know he's on when you're seeing a number of ground balls.
Because it means the ball's down in the zone. When he elevates it, like a lot of pitchers, with a velocity that might be at 90, 91, it gets up there, it gets flat. And it stays in the bat path of the hitter much longer. Trying to work Hosmer away on the forward strike zone.
He's fallen behind 3-1, and line drive toward left, and Charlie's there. Let's take a look at the Excel Energy defensive alignment for the Rockies. Visit responsiblebynature.com to learn more. Blackman for Cargo in left. Cargo the DH. Stubs in center. Brandon Barnes in right. Arenado, Tulowitzki, Culberson, Morneau in the infield. Michael McHenry has the gear on today. 2 outs, nobody on. Billy Butler will step up. Butler 0 for 2 and a pair of walks last night. That's nothing new to Butler. He walked 79 times last year. Patient hitter. 6th in the American League in on-base percentage a year ago, even though his power numbers and his batting average dropped off from what he had normally produced.
In the last couple of years, they've been dropping off. From home run totals in the 20s 2 years ago. Last year, as you mentioned, in the teens. And now just 1 in the first quarter part of the season.
2 balls and a strike. Chacin has a nice tempo. You know, when a club has lost a couple in a row, you go out there and you want to put a stop down. You want to win every time you take the baseball, obviously. But especially when you know, okay, the offense has really picked this whole club up the first quarter of the season. That's in the air, right center field. Ball carried pretty well. Catch made by Brandon Barnes. But the pitching the Rockies have run into lately, important for Chacin to throw up a bunch of zeros himself. We'll go to the second inning. No score at the Big K in Kansas City. and Stubs to face Jason Vargas in the second. Fans, there's a new way to ask your questions during Toyota Talk. We explained it last night. You have to use your Twitter account. Tweet us your questions using hashtag Toyota Talk, and we'll get to those in the fifth inning. And unfortunately, you'll not be able to text in anymore, so don't attempt to do that. We're just going straight via Twitter. And if you don't have a Twitter account, it's really easy to sign up. Nolan Arenado with a .315 batting average steps up. Nolan had a couple of hits last night, and when you only have 5, they anoint you hitting star. After that, he was 2 for 4, and I thought he hit a ball out in the 7th inning, hit a ball to the wall in left field that Gordon caught.
Probably took 3 out of the best 4 at bats from the club last night.
Oh, 2. Fastball away, and that's a Missouri fastball. Show me fastball.
You've been waiting for 10 innings now to get that in, haven't you?
He throws that changeup the majority of the time, especially when he's ahead, and he was ahead there, and he gets the strikeout on the changeup.
And he gets you to reach for it. You'll get out onto your front foot, and you can't keep your hands back, and you start to go for it, and you can see the head start to fly and the body start to lean into it, just trying to reach it.
Justin Morneau drove in the only run for the Rockies last night. And he drives one high and deep and foul. Home run distance, but on the wrong side of the foul pole.
Couldn't hook it around that foul pole.
330 down the line, symmetrical ballpark, goes out to 410 and straightaway centered. The gaps are big though, 387. Give you an example. Say, well, 387, how big is that? Wrigley Field, a place you played, Huey, the gaps are in 365 in that range. That's 20 feet.
Right, and at least Wrigley, the wind's blowing out half the time. For here, it really gets knocked down because it's down in a bowl.
2 gone. And so far, this looks a lot like what we witnessed last night.
Early pitches getting outs, 25 pitches, 16 for strikes. Not quite the same ratio as Shields, but along the same pattern line. I'm trying to think back, when was the last time there was a truly symmetrical field? I mean, none of the new stadiums have it.
No, thank goodness, because there were all those cookie cutter stadiums built in the 60s, and a lot of them, most of them are gone. In fact, all of them are gone. You think of Riverfront, Three Rivers,
the Vet
in Philly. 0-1 on Stubs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Home plate umpire is Dan Bellino. Jeff Kellogg's at first, Quinn Walcott at second, and Chris Siegel's joined the staff. We just saw Chris. He was working that Cincinnati series.
Taking over for DJ Rayburn today.
That's a strike, 1 and 2. If you argue with Dan Bellino, you better bring it, because Dan Bellino is an attorney. This is his law degree.
So you're saying you're not going to win that argument?
Well, typically no.
Vargas wanted that pitch. It was in. Now for Drew, I'm just looking away. I'm thinking outside part of the plate. Even if they back it into there again, I can fight it off. And if you're going to move up on the plate, you have to be very subtle about it, because that's what catchers are looking for. They're looking at hitters' feet to see if they would move up closer to the plate.
To short. And
safe.
Did he stay on the bag? He must have stayed on the bag.
Or tagged. I don't know. That looked weird.
No argument from Stubs and no argument from Eric Young. So the Rockies go in order in the second inning. Middle of 2, no score. Salvador Perez in a scoreless game, and he takes strike 1 from Jhoulys Chacín. Perez last night hit his 4th home run of the year. He had a couple of hits. Good curveball, and it's quickly 0-2. Walt used a word to describe Chacín as the game wore on in Cincinnati, and he said his confidence grew. And it may sound strange to a guy that's accomplished a lot already in the game in Chacín, but even for a guy like that, you know, his 2nd start back now, his 3rd start back, you could tell his confidence had grown. That was a hanging curveball. He went to it 3 straight times, and Perez swats it into left field for a base hit.
But I think it's important to have that confidence go back up for Chacín. This was just a hanger. Going to the well that many times with the same pitch in the same location, the hitter will make the adjustment. And that's where maybe a slider would have been a better pitch, or if you do that, try to bury it. But to get back to Chacín for a minute, remember he missed all of spring training. And no matter how much or how long you've been around, that time during spring training, all the throwing in between, that helps build your confidence. So when you're not around it, not doing it, and then you go down to the minor leagues on your rehabs, it still doesn't have the same feel as being with the big club and going through all the drills.
Alex Gordon at the plate. Rockies turned a couple double plays yesterday, and he gets a reach for it pop-up. Gordon was out on his front side, so 1 out. That'll bring up Johnny Giavotella. Subaru brings you the manager's challenge. Instant replay will be used if there's any sort of question. It's brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Joe
Ned
Little.
Yost is only in his 4th year, and he's already top 3 in terms of managerial victories with Kansas City.
It's amazing. You think about Dick Hauser here.
And it's not like they've had a lot of success.
No.
They won 86 games last year. That was their best year in some time.
Still have the longest streak going as far as not reaching the postseason since '85 with the 4 major sports.
Yep. Fifth season he's been manager, 4th full season. He took over in the middle of 5 years ago. And that's a base hit to center field for Giovitella. 2 aboard here for Lorenzo Cain.
Well, I was going to say a moment ago that Joe Little is running the replay down in the clubhouse today, if there is a challenge.
And Scott Alvis is assisting him on the video side. Brian Jones heads up that department. Brian with a little one at home, taking a couple days off. Lorenzo Cain hit a home run yesterday. It was the first time he hit a home run since last July.
Over 200 at-bats between home runs for Cain.
He's going to that curveball quite a bit here in the second inning.
Must have a feel for it. But last night, Lorenzo Cain, he turned on the fastball and really broke down on the backside to elevate that swing uphill.
Here's the old swing pitch. 1-1 on Lorenzo Cain. 2 on and 1 out. And that's a base hit. Barnes to the baseball quickly. And stopping at third is Perez, who does not run particularly well. So the base is loaded for slumping Mike Mustakas.
Look at the location, because that's what caused this ball to be hit to right field. He wanted to go away with it, and it just it came back inside. It's not the action that Jassim wanted.
Well, again, your calling card's always been getting ground balls, and you've seen 3 line drives this inning. Get one on the ground, you can get out of this without any damage. Mustakas at just 147. He's got a lot of pop, but he has been lost at the plate throughout his big league career. And this is a guy that was a 2nd pick in the draft. And
keep waiting for him to do something. And we talked about it last night. They were talk that he was going to send him down. Now that's the pitch in the location that you want on the fastball, at the knees. We finish out in front, the extension, and that was good extension.
That's down the line. Extra bases. Mustakas will drive in at least 2. The trail runner's Cain. He gets a green light, and he will score a bases clearing double for Mustakas, who just pumped his arms in the air. This guy has been in desperate need of something positive, and he gets a standing ovation. And the Royals are off to a 3-0 start in the second.
And they kept trying to go inside. And another pitch that didn't get where they wanted to. The last one to Cain came back to the outside part. This one did the same. It was down, but it was middle down. Mustakas drove it to the corner. In his last 6 games, he had been just 1 for 14.
And again, there wasn't one. We've been here for, a couple days. There have been a couple of articles as Alcides Escobar swings and misses in the last couple of days on Mustakas and questioning why the Royals didn't send him down.
On Dayton Moore, the GM had to have a press conference about it before yesterday's game.
Ned Yost said he's not talking about Mustakas and why he's here anymore. Kind of, put his foot down. Well, he made his manager and his general manager, and more importantly himself, pretty happy with that swing. And now the Rockies have an uphill climb, and they have not swung the bats the last couple of days, which has been their calling card. Chacin needed to go out and put up zeros, and unfortunately Ball's been barreled here in this second inning.
Well, and by a couple guys down in the bottom of the order, not just Mustakas, but Giovitella as a single, and Lorenzo Cain a single to right field. They're 6th and 7th in the Royals'
Chance to throw him out at third, and they're going to get him. And Mustakas tried to move up on the dirt ball, and McHenry blocked it and kept it in the neighborhood, and he throws him out.
Well, when he blocked it, the curveball down into the dirt, so he blocks it, kicks away to the right. He sees the runner, and then he barehands it. Short throw, just about 93 feet to third base. That's an easy throw and tag for Nolan. Just wait for the base runner to get there.
2-2 on Escobar, and it's 3-2 on Escobar. Three runs, 4 hits in the inning. Another thing for Chassin that's been different, and again, he's only making his 3rd start, but you want to see progress, is the swings and misses that he is accustomed to getting, particularly with 2 strikes, with the changeup and the slider, have not been there.
A lot of foul balls on those.
And this ball's rifled down the left field line. This will be a double. Five hits and no cheapies in the inning. And fortunately, Mustakas got thrown out. Otherwise, the Rockies would be looking at a 4-0 deficit.
Jim Wright's going to come out of the dugout, have a chat with Chassin and Michael McHenry. Escobar opens the front side up to get to that ball down and in. 11th double of the season for Alcides. As good as Jalise was in the first inning, this inning has not been the case. Saturday is Strikeout Stroke Day. Join the Rockies in their effort to raise awareness of stroke warning signs and the importance of acting fast. All fans entering the ballpark will receive a Rockies Strikeout Stroke magnet. I think that was about signs because they were just together pitch prior with Jim Wright. Maybe they're crossed up on the last pitch, and just a reminder what sign they're going to use today.
Two 2-0 on Aoki. This Royals team has not exactly been an offensive juggernaut. They've got 3 up here in the inning threatening for more, and that misses. It's 3-0. You win today, Huey, and you go 3-4 on this trip, and you say, okay, not great, but you can live with that. If you lose and you go home 2-5, that one starts to really smart.
It will, because you think some of the losses, okay, the other pitcher was just better than you. And I'm speaking about the 2 guys in Cincinnati, and then last night, James Shield. But you have a chance today against Vargas if you don't fall too far behind to come out 3-4. You're going home for 6 games against teams within your division, and you still have you would have 24 wins on the season, which would be still second best overall with wins in the National League. Milwaukee and San Francisco are tied with 25 wins.
Curveball for a strike on Hosmer. Hosmer lined out to Blackman and left last inning.
Hosmer, you have to play straight up because he'll spray the ball all over the place, but he does have some power. 15 doubles. He's tied for the American League lead in that category.
Shattered bat, and I don't think Nolan saw it initially, but he's still going to get the out. In the inning, 3 runs on 5 hits for Kansas City. And as we go to the third, Rockies down 3-zip. Call on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford Fusion. Power you want and good looks too. Ford, go further. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at southwest.com. Kansas City leading the Rockies 3-0. Michael McHenry batting 8th will lead things off against Jason Vargas in the third. The Rockies have been held without a hit the first 2 innings. Tulowitzki reached on a walk, and of the 8 hitters, 7 have seen a first pitch strike from Jason Vargas, kind of similar to what Shields did yesterday. He threw 75 strikes in 98 pitches.
And he knew that when Michael stepped into the box, because after that long inning, a lot of pitches from your pitcher, you can't go up there and swing at the first pitch. So you have to take that, and that's what Michael did. Of course, Jason Vargas knew that too.
And that's in there for a strike, 1 and 2. As we like to say, you got counterpunch a little bit. You gave up 3. Get 1 back at least. And not going to happen here. McHenry goes down swinging. That's 3 strikeouts for Vargas. It'll bring up Charlie Culberson. We were talking last inning about the number of good pitchers who've been on their game that the Rockies have run into over the last 5-6 days. And we asked Walt Weiss about that today. And listen to his response. It's interesting.
Yeah, we've run into some good ones. You know, some frontline pitchers that have been on the top of their game, but sometimes you gotta be able to win games 2-1 or 3-2. You got to win those types of games too. So you got to go through those guys to be successful to win a division.
You know, make no mistake, that is the focus of this club. to win a division. And I like that Walt said that instead of saying, boy, yeah, Shields was on. You can only tip your cap so many times. Yeah, in the course of a season, you're going to get out pitched, but you can't keep tipping your cap every day and say, yeah, we ran into this guy on his game and that guy on his game and that guy on his game. At some point in time, you got to find a way, as he said, to win a 2-1, 3-2 ball game.
And the way you win those ball games is to try to get an early lead, even if it's just 1-0. So then you can build on it. You can lay down some bunch. You can hit and run, but you fall behind 2, 3, 4 runs, and you're playing catch up the rest of the game. It gives that pitcher confidence to make his pitches, but also limits Walt's ability to make things happen and to create.
And it's incumbent naturally on your starting pitcher to throw up some zeros, and after a good first inning, Chacin had a rough second inning, and now you are behind in a pitcher's ballpark by 3 runs. 1 out, 2-2 on Charlie Culberson, and he's gone. So the Rockies have not made an adjustment to the off-speed stuff, and the first time through the order, Vargas strikes out 4, and that's 16 punch-outs in the last 11 2/3 innings for this Rockies offense, which had cut down by 15% their number of strikeouts from a year ago at the same point.
Well, that's the other part of the equation. That hadn't happened in nearly 8 years, where a club last night had 12 strikeouts and the opposing club had 0. Last time for the Rockies, they did it back in 2006. They had 12 strikeouts, and the Washington Nationals had 0.
Takes that fastball and moves it off the plate, 2-0. Charlie hitting .333 against lefties this year. Here's the 2-0. And a broken bat slow roller. And the Rockies don't get anything done in the 3rd inning either against Jason Vargas. Trailing 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd in Kansas City. Tweet us your Rockies fan photos. Use the hashtag #COFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Billy Butler in the 3rd inning. Hit a deep fly ball to right center field. Back in the 1st, in Chacin. Hits the strike zone. It's 0-1. Royals up 3-0. Rockies don't have a hit yet against Jason Vargas. This is how Vargas, by the way, started in that outing against his former club, the Seattle Mariners. He retired 14 of the first 15 he faced.
98 pitches, 65 for strikes in those 7 innings.
So far, he's retired 9 of the first 10 he's faced in this ball game. He lost Tulowitzki on a 3-2 pitch. Inside 2-2 on Butler, who's the most patient hitter in the Royals lineup. The Rockies and Royals do share one thing in common offensively. The Rockies obviously have scored a ton more runs than the Royals have this year, but they're 2 of the 3 most aggressive teams in baseball. In terms of fewest pitches per at bat, they're 2 of the 3 teams that see the fewest amount of pitches. Now that's worked out well for Colorado. It has not worked out as well for Kansas City.
Different power in the lineups.
And that's inside 3-2 on big Billy Butler.
You wouldn't think of a big guy like Billy Butler as being a patient hitter, or he sees that many pitches.
I'll give you an example, Jeff, of a guy you played against who hit a lot of home runs, more than Butler, who was an enormous guy that was really patient, and that was the Big Herd, who's going into the Hall of Fame.
Frank Thomas, he would always take pitches and end up seeing 5, 6, 7 pitches per at bat.
And that's just poked into right field, a base hit.
There's really no put away pitch for Jesse.
No, and there used to be. He had a wipeout slider and a changeup. As we said, that would induce swings and misses, but so far he has not been able to get those swings and misses. Our Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Rockies in interleague play in 2012 and 2013. They had a miserable record. So far this year they've won 5 of 8. And they're doing it by swinging the bat, pitching better. That's a foul ball, barely. Wow. Salvador Perez very close to hitting that off the end of the bat right over the bat.
Well, that's why he's shaking his hand, because it was off the end of the bat. That's a stinger. Feel it in your fingers, no matter how much you try to blow on those hands to warm it up. I think today's cooler than it was yesterday or last night during the game.
58 degrees upon first pitch. Line drive, and Blackman will make the catch.
Long strides to get to that baseball for Charlie. Good break on it. Just reached up with that big 6'3" frame.
Remember we talked about earlier the fact that in his first 2 ball games, the ground ball percentage for Jolie's just 38%. Last year at 48%. Well, in this game, the first inning, the first hitter, Aoki, behind in the count, chopped one to the left side. Hosmer hit a ground ball to third to end the second inning. Other than that, everything else has been a line drive. And there's been 1 pop out and 1 ball that you characterize as a long fly ball. Nothing else on the ground. 1-0 on Alex Gordon.
Also seen a lot more curveballs, changeups today. That it used to be fastball, and then the slider. There's still time to find it. Just have to make sure you get one of those double plays right now. You can't fall any further behind. Asking for the fastball in, shook to the change.
And see if they can turn this one. Culberson a good feed on to first, not in time.
It's too high of a bounce on the second bounce to Charlie.
2 outs. Gordon at first now, and John A. Giavotella, who singled to center field.
Right here, the second bounce gets a quick turn and feed to Tulo, but it helps for Gordon to be hitting out of the left side. And when he did that, he beat it by a step.
Giovitella 1 for 4 last night. He scored a run.
After hitting the home run on Sunday, he's worked his way into the lineup 2 consecutive days.
So it helps him also as Omar Infante had to go on the disabled list with a back injury.
Well, that opens the door for players. I mean, that's what you're never want one of your teammates to get hurt, but if it does, it's an opportunity for you to play. The teammates and injuries. We were talking to Michael Kadire down in the locker room today. He's excited about heading to Arizona, extended spring, to get some at-bats.
He's got a late afternoon flight from Kansas City to Phoenix, and then he's got an early call tomorrow morning.
6:30 in the morning. So just like spring training all over again. He said, yeah, I'm not looking forward to.
Breaking balls in there for a strike. It's 1-2.
But it's a camp day down in Scottsdale, so he can hit for both sides. He'll pile up a number of at-bats tomorrow.
What
I mean, he might
Jeff
even
means by that, it's Rockies on Rockies.
Yeah,
They're not playing another.
So he can hit on both sides of the field, where he'll hit for one club and go to the other side.
Barnes coming on, and did he make the catch? He did. First base umpire Jeff Kellogg went out and said the catch was made. It's a gutsy play by Barnes, because if it goes by him, it's going to score a run, and Giovitelli's going to be at third. Who knows?
Have to play with no fear, and Brandon did on this catch in right field. Nice
3-0 Kansas City.
Barnes, Tulowitzki, and Gonzalez. One of these guys needs to get the Rockies' first hit against Vargas so far today. For Troy Tulowitzki, if it's his first hit against him today, that would mean it's his first hit against his former Long Beach State teammate in his major league career. But for Tulo, he always loves playing against friends.
I think, if I was coming to the field today and I was facing just another lefty, it'd be another game, but I think someone where there's some bragging rights and things like that, you always get a little extra pumped up for it. So at the end of the day, no matter what happens, we'll be friends. No matter if he strikes me out a couple times, I hit a homer, whatever it is. So that's always good to know too.
For Long Beach State, better known as the Dirtbags, 44 guys have played in the major leagues. In the last 3 years, they boast the most players in the major leagues at any other college. And let's just flash back a look at the college numbers for Troy Tulowitzki and Jason Vargas. There they are, just about one season at Long Beach State for Vargas pitching. As for Tulo, he hit .310 in his career with 20 home runs and 117 RBIs. So we seem to run into a lot of dirt bags on our Major League travels, guys.
Well, it's a good program. Jason Vargas right now is winning the battle with the Rockies. He has 5 strikeouts in 3 1/3. Second time he's got Brandon Barnes, and Tulowitzki will come up to renew their rivalry.
The season high for Vargas is 6.
And this is not typically how he's doing it. It's usually mishit balls in the infield. Troy showed the most patience staying off borderline pitches in his first at bat. Worked a walk. That's the only base runner the Rockies have had. This is a ballpark, and especially today, as chilly as it is, you got to do as the Royals did. You're going to have to bunch some hits. You can't just sit back and wait on a 3-run bomb.
Whatever wind there is, it's blowing from left to right. We saw it on a fly ball back in the first inning off the bat of Billy Butler that started right center field, ended up in right field.
2-2. Tulo has a habit of doing that. You don't know if it influences umpires or not. He'll jump back as if the pitch is way inside. As you can see, it's a borderline strike.
Well, it causes the umpire to flinch. He sees the guy jumping back and he's trying to look at the ball at the same time. We draw some oohs and ahs from the crowd. A lot of hitters, when that happens, when you jump back or raise your arms, it's because you're looking away. And it surprises you when the ball's in. Let's see if they just wiggle 4 fingers to throw the changeup.
Threw it on the last pitch. Tulo fouled it off. Just initially signaled fastball. Vargas 54 and 59 in his career. Strike 3 on Tulowitzki. And now he's going to argue with Dan Bellino.
Get tossed. Well, that'll jump out there to make sure that Troy wasn't arguing too much. Same pitch, same location. Might have been in half a baseball more than the other one that was called the ball. That's what will get players.
Somebody just got tossed, and it had to be Tulowitzki, I'm guessing, because Walt's coming out. And if it's Troy, man, that is huge. You can't lose the best player in the game in a ball game that's 3-0.
When you only have 3 bench players. Be DJ that has to come in and play second. I know what Walt's arguing right now is you're turned around, you're at home plate, you're looking at the pitch. How do you know it was him when you're not eyeballing him?
I'm sure he can tell who it is by voice, but he may also be saying, you know, why aren't you focused here? Why are you still listening over there? Ran the best player we have. This is as protracted an argument as we've seen Walt have in his 2 years as a manager. You said that's
It's
terrible.
Never cussed.
There's no.
See, to me, that's
You know,
where you just walk away.
You got to be better than that. I mean, it's not. There were a bunch of F-bombs coming out. I mean, we didn't hear everything, obviously, but what we did see was it's terrible, or that's terrible.
See, I always go back to the NFL refs that are getting their ears chewed off on the sidelines, and they just ignore it, and they just go on what's happening on the field. I mean, that was a case where he didn't stand there. Yeah, he was arguing some, but he went in the dugout. Nobody knows in the ballpark with the 25,000 or however many are here who was yelling from the dugout.
1-1 on Gonzalez. 2 outs, nobody on. And how big a break is that for Ned Yost and the Royals? Take the leading hitter in baseball, tied for the league lead in home runs. Every other offensive category, you just take him out of the lineup in the 4th inning. And Troy's got to be smart. He knows what the line is, but he's been around a long time. And he probably knows when it's crossing over. And he walked away and he got to the dugout. And as an umpire, this is going to squirm through, and the Rockies have their first hit. But as an umpire, you got to remember. Not that there are different rules for different players, but fans didn't come to see you umpire.
No, just as they say in the dugout, just tuck the ears back inside the mask and quit listening.
Arenado at the plate. Nolan's had trouble with that changeup. He's not alone, though. The Rockies have struck out 6 times, which matches the season high for Vargas, set over 7 innings in his last outing in Seattle. And now he has 7 punch-outs. So the Rockies down 3-0, and they'll go the rest of the way without Tulowitzki. All right, Mark, thank you very much. Lorenzo Cain leading things off here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Cain a base hit and scored a run in the 2nd. And a fly ball to Barnes in right. So the Rockies have moved Charlie Culberson from 2nd to short to replace Tulowitzki, who was thrown out. And DJ LeMahieu comes in at the position he most frequently starts at, and that's second base.
Well, underneath the dugout, or right behind the dugout, there's a space to get loose. There's a batting cage down there, so it doesn't take long for somebody like DJ to be ready to come into the game.
Mike Mustakas had a 3-run double. Probably the last candidate to produce a big hit right now for the Royals, and he did it in the 2nd inning. 07 draft, he was the 2nd pick.
Still second on the Royals with 17 RBIs.
He's tied for the club lead with 4 home runs, but I mean, he had a 147 average coming in.
But that's a lot of at-bats.
Last year, he had to have a decent second half to raise his average to 233. 2012, he had 242. He had 20 home runs 2 years ago, 3 and 2. Grew up in the Los Angeles area. Chatsworth High School. They were the mythical national champions that year, Chatsworth High, and he was the National Player of the Year. And that is punched to left. Rockies had a semi-shift on. Mustakas will try to turn it into a double, and he will. So Mustakas, who had 1 foot in Omaha and the other foot on a banana peel 24 hours ago, has 2 doubles and 3 RBIs.
This one, he just stuck his bat out. He's just trying to foul that pitch off. It's not hardly on the 4th strike zone. He just soft served that to left field inside the line.
But it goes back to a point we've made a couple times, in that when Jolis is sharp, there's swings and misses. Now we're seeing a couple of balls that guys fool, but they're still able to get the barrel to the baseball, even if it's, you know, not the prettiest swing in the world. We saw it last inning from Billy Butler.
Yeah, just flipped the ball to right field on the curveball. Same thing for Mustakas. He stayed back enough to hit it to left field.
One out and a runner at second base. That scores about 70% of the time. Drew Stubs will pull this down. Mustakas will move up. Escobar is the 2nd out of the inning. It'll bring up Nori Aoki.
Fans, don't forget, Coors Field is available year-round for special events, and most areas of the ballpark can be reserved. Call 303 Rockies for more information. Book your next event at Coors Field.
Aoki, a ground ball to short and a walk. High with the fastball, ball 1. Aoki leading the American League with a .382 home batting average.
Well, he's not worried about how deep the fences are. That's not his style of play.
Oh, yeah, Aoki's not a big home run hitter, but coming into the ball game, he had 9 at bats against Chacin. He had 3 home runs against him.
It's one of those inside the park in Milwaukee. I have to double check on that. Seems like it was a couple years ago.
Well, if you're right, you have a good memory. 2-0. One of those guys, Jeff, you have to shorten up on the left side, don't you?
You do, because you know he's just going to try to slap it, and as he's slapping the ball down on the ground, he's running out of the batter's box. You also have to keep in mind that when you catch it cleanly, it's don't take time, look at the seams, get rid of it.
Pulled the bat back on the bunt attempt, so it's 3-1. Well, he had a really good memory because it was against Chacin, and the dive by Cargo, it got by him, and it turned into an inside the park home run. 3-2. You know, the other thing with Tulowitzki being thrown out when he's already in the dugout. Ground ball to Nolan. He had to back up, and a good throw. Is that usually, if an umpire's that agitated, he'll pull the mask off, which is the universal baseball sign for enough. 3-0 Kansas City. Have one hit. Cargo rolled the ball up the middle. Literally, he got jammed and he just found the right spot. That's it against Jason Vargas, who has struck out a season high 7 in 4 innings. Justin Morneau will lead things off, then Stubs and McHenry. The Rockies desperately need to make an adjustment here, Huey.
Yeah, they have not really picked up the ball at all off of Jason Vargas today. When they have, it's been out front. They haven't stayed back.
And that's on the corner, and an upside down count again. It's 0-2.
But he also hasn't left many pitches in the middle part, the fat part of the plate.
Ball hit to third. Mustakas will throw out Morneau. 1 out. Who wants tacos? Remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations. Do it the next day. Do it between 4 and 6, and you get your Rockies taco special. 1 gone. Drew Stubs, who grounded to short his first time up, hit it fairly sharply, and it's, looking back, that may have been the hardest hit ball from a Rocky today. A 1-hopper to Alcides Escobar. This is in the air to pretty deep right field. And Aoki near the wall will make the catch.
And they increased the warning track here last year by 5 feet because of Lorenzo Cain in center field. He had trouble running into the wall too much, so they cut some grass out. They extended it 5 feet, so these outfielders, when they go back on the warning track, have to remember, yeah, we're playing at home. I do have a little bit more room than I would out on the road.
These innings are going quickly. Vargas pounding the zone, and the Rockies, every time you look up, it's 2 outs, nobody on.
You have time to sit back in the dugout, grab some Gatorade, cool off, catch your breath.
Jorge Ortiz is with the club over the last couple of days. Ortiz, national baseball writer and a very good one for USA Today. He's based in San Francisco and here to do a piece on how the Rockies have been bucking the trend. Everybody's offense is down. We're in a pitcher's era. Strikeouts up, ERAs down, batting averages offensively way down, runs scored way down, except for the Rockies. And now the Rockies, over the last couple of days, are swinging the bat like everybody else, it seems like.
Reminds you when you go to the car mechanic and you say, hey, you know, my car's making this noise, but it's not making the noise right now. Or the doctor. Doc, it hurt. The last 2 days it's hurt here, but it's not today. What can you tell me?
Yeah. Really, we've been very good. Look at the numbers.
It's some of the best numbers in baseball. It's just
not some of them. They have basically all of them. And this is a pop out waiting to happen at second base. Giovitella makes the catch, and Vargas, like he's sitting in a lazy boy the way he's throwing. 3-0 Royals. With Jeff Hewson and Jenny Kavnar, I'm Drew Goodman. Bottom of the 5th inning, Hosmer, Butler, and Perez 2, 3, and 4 to face Chacin. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Hosmer is 0 for 2. Line drive to left and a ground ball to third. And that's an easy play for Morneau. He'll flip to Chacin. 1 pitch, 1 out. It's also our Toyota Talk inning. Remember, to get yourself involved with Toyota Talk now, you have to use Twitter with the hashtag Toyota Talk. First question, Root Sports RM. Have you tried the famous KC barbecue yet? Yeah, we all went out to dinner on Sunday night. Jeff was flying in, so you missed that, but I think you got some Monday night.
I always get some when I come to Kansas City. Doesn't matter. I mean, that's what it's known for, and why not try some of the local fare. I like Gates barbecue myself.
We went to Jack Stack's on the plaza, and I've always made sure that I've had at least one meal at Jack Stack's, if not two, when the Rockies do play in Kansas City. Breaking ball for a strike on Butler, and it's 0-2. Has Blackmon changed any batting mechanics this year?
I think he has. He's not standing as upright as he has in previous years, using more of his legs in his swing. That's what's helped him hit the ball for more power, because he's using his whole body, not just an upper body swing.
Salvador Perez 1 for 2. One out he made was a line shot to Blackmon in left. Fastball's off the plate. Hey Huey, where was your favorite place to play ball at?
Oh, Kevin, I know you, Kevin. You're out in center field a lot. You know what? I think every place in the big leagues is pretty fun. Chicago obviously has a different feel to it. But Baltimore, during the heyday when Cal was going through his thing, packed 45,000 fans a night. That was a ton of fun.
And so Baltimore had a better feel than, say, Aberdeen.
Yes. Or Indianapolis, or some of the Jacksonville, Florida.
It's like Kansas City feels a lot better than Omaha.
Yes.
That's pulled foul. Nothing against Omaha.
No,
great town.
great
Love to
town.
go there for the College World Series, kids tournaments. But if you're a baseball player at the professional level, you'd rather be in Kansas City playing for the KC Royals than the Omaha Royals.
And this is a nice ballpark.
Great ballpark.
They really changed it. When I first started coming here, it was AstroTurf, hot. It was really tough. Oopsie, that one got away. He just at least just overthrew this one. Wanted to go away, and he just let go of it way too early.
Second walk allowed by Chassin. Joy to talk. Question number 3. Are there any complete 5-tool players in the big leagues today?
I'd say Mike Trout.
Trout's pretty close. The only tool that you'd say is, average would be his arm. Right? His
Yeah,
arm,
but
it's still probably a tick above average. Speed's ridiculous. Power's terrific. Hitting ability's terrific. Fielding
and
ability's
I think,
terrific.
to me, a 5-tool player, at least if he's average to slightly above in all those categories, it doesn't mean he has to be an 8 in every category.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And an 8 would be the best that you can be on a scale from 2 to 8. 5 being average.
And Cargo throughout his career, if you assess all of his tools, he's a 5-tool player.
Can do it all, steal the bases for you, the arm, power, average.
And Tulo was second. Tulo doesn't run anymore. He doesn't steal bases anymore, with in deference to the leg injuries he's had. But I mean, Tulo obviously is an A+ defender. Offensively, he's off the charts. Andrew McCutchen. 2-1, and that's popped up. Morneau's got it. We're through 5 innings, and the Royals, on the strength of a 3-run double from Mike Mustakas, leading 3-0. Looks like Mike McHenry may have gotten hit on that follow-through by the bat.
Right in the side of the face. Ow.
to the top of the 6th. Next time you're in Kansas City, check out 18th and Vine. That's where you'll find the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Very cool piece of baseball history. LaTroy Hawkins took his teammates Tommy Kahnle and Chris Martin there yesterday to introduce him to Bob Kendrick, who runs the museum now. A lot of artifacts, a lot of history about not only the game of baseball, but the social times that the Negro League players went through. And here's what Hawkins hoped his young teammates learned about the house that Buck O'Neil built.
This museum is symbolic to, our game, a history of baseball, period. And for those guys to want to come and just get a piece of the history and part of history they probably, in other circumstances probably would have never, had a chance to come here. I think it shows a lot of, about who they are.
We were standing on the Field of Legends yesterday talking, and the museum is set up in such a way that there's a barricade between you and the Field of Legends the entire time. And it really symbolizes what Negro League players had to go through being segregated from professional baseball community. And by the end of the tour, by the time you get to learn everything about the leagues, you end up being able to walk onto the Field of Legends. It's just such a neat setup. Bob Kendrick does such a great job there. We know the Royals hosted here the All-Star game back in 2012, and that was a great tourist time for the resurgence of the museum there. So I really encourage anyone who comes through this area to check it out. In fact, I ran into Nolan Arenado's dad yesterday getting a tour themselves.
Pretty cool stuff, and it used to be when you came to Kansas City, and Jeff, I know you recall this, that obviously until he passed, and he lived a long, long life, one of the great baseball ambassadors, Buck O'Neil, was a regular at the ballpark here in Kansas City.
And it was a privilege and an honor to be able to meet him and talk to him, and he was out here every day. And he'd be behind the batting cage, and it was so much fun to listen to some of the stories and the history of the game spoken from Buck O'Neil.
Yeah, so that's a must. I mean, if you're in this area, you have to go by and see the Negro Leagues Museum here in Kansas City. 1-0 on Charlie Blackmon. Culberson behind in the count, throws out just the Rockies' second hit.
Charlie, coming into the game, was hitting .404 in day games, 15 for 42. Remember I referenced Randy Wolf earlier? He was just called up to the big leagues and signed with the Marlins. They needed a spot for the rotation after Fernandez went down. He'd been pitching at AAA in Reno for the Diamondbacks. They signed him and they put him in their rotation.
Well, he's had a long career. This ball is to second, and Giovatello will take the easier play. And with one out, the Rockies have touched second base for the first time in the ball game as Culberson is standing there. Thanks again for tweeting in your questions during Toyota Talk. For more answers, visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/RootSportsRM. Brandon Barnes with DJ LeMahieu, not Tulowitzki on deck. Again, Tulowitzki was ejected after being called out on a 3-2 pitch that looked inside. He wasn't ejected at home plate. He'd gone back to the dugout. And after one pitch, I think it was after one pitch to Cargo, Dan Bellino threw him out. Now, Tulo gets called out. He argues for a moment. Now he's in the dugout and he yells, "That's terrible." And the next thing, he gets thrown out. And again, normally you'll see the umpire take the mask off first and say, "I'm done. Move on."
Enough. You've said your piece. You think I was wrong. Okay, I get it. Now stop. If you keep it up, that's when I would kick you out. But don't immediately rip off your mask and yell in there, "You're gone."
First player or coach or Walt Weiss to be ejected this year. Barnes tries to bunt his way on, and he's going to reach. Unfortunately, Vargas couldn't get to that thing in the air, so it's first and third. And one out. And now, ordinarily, you'd have Tulowitzki. You could tie it with one swing. It's not to take anything away from DJ LeMahieu, but it's a different type of hitter.
Yeah, DJ does not have a home run this year compared to Troy, who has 11. But for Brandon Barnes, smart play again. You know that a home run would still put you back by one, so let me drop down a bunt, and then this checks up nicely. It's like a shot into a green at Augusta where it has that backspin on it.
Outside on LeMahieu. So the Rockies with an opportunity to get back in it here in the 6th inning. There's that good changeup. I mean, not only is he getting the Rockies out front, he's getting swings and misses on that changeup all afternoon long. The Rockies have punched out 7 times.
And the other thing, that DJ's at the disadvantage because he hasn't had 2 prior at-bats to see how that ball's coming in, like Troy would. So he's picking up this changeup for the first time.
Good swing. Made the adjustment on that off-speed pitch.
Coca-Cola value packs are the best deal in town, available every value game, including May 20th through the 22nd against the Giants for either $59 or $79. That's depending on seat location. But don't forget Coca-Cola value packs. Best deal going.
Our intrepid reporter George Frazier at the Tulsa-Springfield game. It's an afternoon affair with a strong report on one Eddie Butler, who went 7 innings, didn't allow a run, 6 hits, walked just 1, struck out 4. He said commanded everything, was 91 to 95 with a sinking fastball. So another good outing for Eddie Butler, who now has an ERA of 2.98 in the Texas League. That ball game has gone final 9-1. Tulsa has beaten Springfield. Butler picks up the W. Culberson at third, Barnes at first. Here's the 1-2. And a strikeout of LeMahieu. And that'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez with 2 gone.
Defensive swing from DJ. Just another one that thinking it's going to come inside, maybe cut in there, and it stayed away from the power zone.
Cargo rolled a single up the middle in the 4th inning.
He rolled it through the hole where they would put a shift on, or where that third baseman who slides over would be. Right past where the umpire is sitting in the middle of the diamond. That's where that base hit went.
Inside, ball 1. The Rockies honestly have not really hit a ball hard in this game.
They have the right man at the plate to do that, and he could make this ball game tied up with 1 swing.
And he got a pitch right there, an 88-mile-an-hour fastball over the middle of the plate. I've said it so many times, when you're slightly off, when you're not completely locked in, Ball goes the wrong direction, backwards instead of forwards. Cargo got a pitch, center cut, one of the few we've seen from Vargas. Snap throw, out at third base. That can't happen. Cannot happen. Down 3-0, and Charlie knows it. Salvador Perez picks off Culberson, and Cargo is left at home plate.
With a clear throwing lane for Perez, and this was called because you can see before the pitch is even delivered, Mustakas going over for the tag.
Here's today's First Bank game recap. First Bank, the home of free checking, is proud to support the home team. Sign up at efirstbank.com. Rockies trailing 3-0. Mustakas with a 3-run double back in the second inning. Tulowitzki was ejected for arguing balls and strikes, so he didn't do it at home plate. He argued a little bit, went to the dugout, and then was thrown out. Jason Vargas has been unhittable from the Rockies' perspective. 3 singles, a bloop, a bleeder, and a bunt single. That's it. And then the Rockies just wasted an opportunity with Cargo at the plate. Charlie Culberson got lulled into getting too far off the bag because the semi-shift was on, and Mustakas, the third baseman, was well off the line. But I'm sure Charlie would be the first to tell you, you can't have that happen there. You're going to, there's 2 outs. You're going to score on any sort of positive, ball in play.
Or even a wild pitch or pass ball. Because of where the dugout or the backstop is, you will still score. Go back to that pickoff, and you can see Mustakas, he was already going to third base before Vargas let go of the baseball.
It was called, as they say, before the snap.
That was a pre-read from both the catcher and the third baseman.
One-two and a strikeout of Giovitella. And you know what? In this series, that is the first strikeout by a Rockies pitcher. And the Rockies on offense have struck out 20 times. #1 offense in baseball, 20 punch-outs. And the Royals, who've been dismal offensively for a good portion of this year, that's the first time they've struck out in this mini 2-game set.
It's hard to believe that you would think it would be the other way around.
McHenry may have a play. It's going to be close, and he makes the catch. Well done.
And he was helped because of the 45-degree angle at the end of the backstop. So he had an extra foot to lean in to catch that pop-up. Right by the on-deck circle. You see where the wall ends, the netting ends, and there's the extra foot I referenced. Just don't have to worry about anything. Just keep your eye on the ball.
Mustakas, who hasn't hit much this year with 2 doubles today. They say he's more patient this year than in the past. But it hasn't produced different results, unfortunately, for Mike. But today he's been good offensively.
Sometimes you're patient because you can't pull the trigger on a swing. You overthink it.
Everybody, Huey, in this game is going to meet failure at some point and be humbled at some point. For players like Mustakas, it comes so much further down the road than for most players. I mean, this kid couldn't do anything wrong in high school. He was in the futures game early in pro ball. And then the first time that they're dealing with a hand they've never dealt with before, you start to learn what kind of player you have and how they'll adjust and how they'll handle it.
That's why you hope for a player, if he does have some failure, it's down in the minor leagues where not all eyes are upon you. And you can get out of it easier. But you learn how to deal with the day-to-day struggles. But the first time you struggle in the big leagues, you just start to panic. And you'll listen to everybody and anybody who's telling you what to do.
2-2. He stayed off the breaking ball. 3-2. There's one guarantee. Is that every player, no matter how gifted, will get humbled, and more than once. Look at Cargo this year. As great a player as he's been, he was hitting in the 230s a couple weeks ago. This ball's left up, and it's hit pretty well right center field. Barnes hoping for a play, will have one mid-track. And that ends the 6th inning. We'll go to the 7th. The Rockies still trailing 3-0. As we chatted about earlier, time for the AT&T fan photo of the game. And here's a pretty little girl. She's got her little Rockies dress on. Tweet your photo to hashtag #COFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. So Cargo will resume his at-bat. And instead of hitting with the 2 men aboard, he's up there leading off the inning. And Pedro Soroka's in defensively at second base.
And they did that last night in the 9th inning of the game. Came in, pinch ran, stayed in the ball game. But how much less stress is there on Jason Vargas now with Cargo up and nobody on compared to having a couple guys on last half inning? Just breathe a big sigh of relief. As usual, when you go in as a defensive replacement, that ball will find you within the first couple batters.
Arenado has struck out twice against Vargas.
But the first time he's been up there with a 1-0 count.
First 17 hitters that Vargas faced today, he was strike one on 13 of them. Last inning he was more often 1-0. It's a tough play for Soroka. There's a lot of wind up there. And the ball drops, and Arenado ends up at second base. Huey, you were an infielder. He's got to get help from somebody in the outfield there.
Well, that ball goes that far out there. I mean, when you see an infielder start to turn around and drift on the ball, we always say it's easier for an outfielder coming in than it is for an infielder going out. I mean, Nolan will take the double, but that's Aoki's ball. Good hustle from Nolan to leg out that double, not quit on it.
On Morneau.
Yeah, he's pulled that ball on that same area 4 times today.
The day after every Rockies win, get 40% off your online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. So pop fly double for Arenado.
Just 33 balls out of the 94 that Vargas has thrown.
Same thing for Shields last night. 2-2 on Justin.
Trying to keep the ball inside to Justin to keep him from getting his arms extended.
Now they set up away.
Good eye. The biggest difference this year for Jason Vargas is the improvement against the left-handers. Average is down just about 100 points. The slugging percentage is down, but strikeouts, that's the one thing that's been up because of the changeup.
This ball's line foul. And in every at-bat for Morneau, they've come inside. And remember his first at-bat, he hit a home run foul. I mean, he hit one about 400 feet, but it was fouled by about 15, 20 feet.
3 other ones he's hooked into the dugouts, now 2 into the stands down the right field line. So you know that's where they're going to pitch you, but still you're wondering, well, are they going to change it up? Are they going to work away? But from that alignment, they're going to pitch him in and see if he pulls it.
He pulled it right to Hosmer. 2 outs. Arenado to third. Drew Stubs coming up. Stubs a ground ball to short and a fly ball to deep right center. Rockies have been shut out only one time this year.
They've also not lost more than 3 games in a row.
They haven't lost more than
Right.
2 games in a row. They have not lost 3 in a row yet. Trying to avoid that today.
There's only 2 teams that are also in that same category. That would be St. Louis and Detroit.
That was pitch number 100 for Vargas.
As high as 113, so he still has a little bit left in the tank.
Well, basically it's been, and this is something pitching coaches, managers pay close attention to, the number of high stress pitches. Other than last inning, for a moment, there really haven't been any high stress pitches. 3-1 on Stubs.
Those high stress pitches when you have to reach back for just a little extra.
This ball's well hit to left field. Did Stubs get it? He did. Into the bullpen, and the Rockies are right back in it. Drew Stubs, a 2-run shot in the 7th inning. And all of a sudden, in a game dominated by Vargas, it is a 3-2 affair.
When you think back to that blue double to right field to keep this inning going, and then Drew comes through big time. 87-mile-an-hour fastball and falling behind, and Drew makes him pay well into the bullpen in left field.
Vargas will walk off. Ned Yost takes the baseball from him, and with 2 outs in the 7th inning, it is now 3-2. Michael McHenry's going to lead there, going to hit here with 2 outs. Drew Stubs has hit his 3rd home run in a Rockies uniform to make it 3-2. Lewis Coleman, who's a cross-firing sidearm type of pitcher, tough on righties, hits the zone. It's 0-1.
And he'll primarily pitch against the right-handers because of that sidearm. Lefties hit him much better than right-handers because he crossfires, steps towards third base, tries to deceive you with the drop-down motion.
You know what you're getting in the 8th and 9th with Kansas City. You're going to get Wade Davis, who they saw yesterday, typically in the 8th. Did he hold up? Yep. And then you're going to get Greg Holland in the 9th. McHenry hitting 8th in the Rockies order this afternoon. And a shattered bat. Got real light.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, get a different piece and make it easier. That's what Charlie Culberson's on the on-deck circle. When that bat went flying, it hit the netting over his head. Lewis Coleman and DJ LeMahieu were teammates in the LSU championship team. He's 14-2 his senior year.
And another foul ball. Stubs a 2-run home run, and it's 3-2 now. Kansas City with 2 outs in the 7th. Escobar will make the catch. So Drew Stubs gives the Rockies some life here as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the Cooney Lexus look back. Bases loaded. Mike Mustakas said with the bat, and he doubles down the right field line. He cleared the bases against Chacin in the 2nd inning. Jason Vargas was basically unhittable until the 7th inning. Struck out a season high 8. Last pitch he threw, Drew Stubs hit out with 2 outs a moment ago. A 2-run home run, and now it's a 3-2 ball game. That's our look back, brought to you by Cooney, located in Greenwood Village in Colorado Springs. And in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Rockies are going to turn to Rex Brothers. 9-1-2 for the Royals. Alcides Escobar, and then a couple of left-handed bats, Norioki and Eric Hosmer.
Well, with that home run from Drew, you just get a little life in that dugout. Feeling better. You got a bounce in your step, and now Rex will look to shut down the Royals quickly so that offense can go back to swinging the bat.
First pitch strike, and it's 0-1. Now, the bottom of the order has been pretty potent for the Royals against the Rockies in this mini 2-game set, 10 for 24.
Well, last night it was Lorenzo Cain hitting 8, had a couple RBIs. Today it's been Mustakas with 3 RBIs in that double back in the 2nd inning.
On the ground to third, Arenado, good strong throw across to 6'4" Justin Morneau.
Well, the next bike to the game is this Sunday when the Rockies take on the San Diego Padres. Visit Rockies.com/green for more information. Bike to the game Sunday, May 18th.
One out, Aoki. 0 for 2 and a walk. Slaps the ball typically to the left side. And occasionally he'll, surprise you and turn on a pitch. A few big leaguers who will actually shorten up on his bat. You used to see that all the time in the 60s and 70s.
Or at least with 2 outs, or 2 strikes, guys would do it, but not anymore. I think the last guy to do it on a regular basis was Barry Bonds.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, you would think Barry Bonds would be way down on the end of the bat.
There's a bunt, and Arenado got caught up.
They're going to call him out.
Let's see, did he get in the baseline?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. He was, when he got in the 45-foot lane, he wasn't in the 45-foot lane.
Dan Bellino immediately came out from behind home plate. And the 45-foot lane that you're referencing, Drew, is the runner has to be out in that lane until his last stride before he starts to hit first base. So he lays down the bunt. He's inside the whole way. And that is the right call. That is the correct call, because once you hit that 45-foot line, or basically halfway there to first, you have to be outside the line, the fair line, or the foul line, however you want to describe it. In between those two, you cannot run inside once you're past that mark.
An expanded instant replay. These are the items not eligible for video review. Clearly balls and strikes. Umpire judgment. And that would include, to me, whether or not they were in the 45-foot lane.
Because you can't even go back and look at it. But even on our replay, that was the right call.
Inside on Hosmer. The way you score that, it's it'd
be a 5-4 because
yeah, it was 5-4. Well, I think they say 4 unassisted now, which that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's got to be 5-4
because DJ was covering it.
You can't take the assist away.
No. Because they're saying if he didn't obstruct with his ability to catch the ball, he would have been out on a 5-4.
2-0 inside, 3-0 on Hosmer. center field, Drew Stubs, as Hosmer turned loose on 3-0. So we'll go to the 8th inning. See if the Rockies can get after that bullpen of Kansas City, trailing by a run. The top of the 8th inning. And now in the ball game's Kelvin Herrera, who throws very hard. Also in the ball game is Jared Dyson, who went from the same hometown, Macomb, Mississippi, as Corey Dickerson. He's in defensively in center field. Lorenzo Cain slides over to right field. This might be right up the Rockies' alley. They're going to get a guy that comes after you with a heavy fastball, and that's Kelvin Herrera.
Yeah, I mean, that's upper 90s heavy fastball, occasionally touching double digits. 15 strikeouts, almost a strikeout per inning pitched. Bonus 203 against Kelvin. Been charged with a run over his last 9 1/3. But after facing guys that have been painting the corner and change up, keeping you off balance, it's kind of refreshing to get back to a hard thrower, you against me.
One to Culberson, and a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Charlie 1 for 2. Again, the Rockies playing from the 4th inning on without Troy Tulowitzki, who was thrown out after he had returned to the dugout. He was called out on a controversial 3-2 pitch. He thought he'd walked, argued at home plate. Went back to the dugout, and all of a sudden Dan Bellino heard something else from Tulowitzki and just turned and threw him out. The Rockies missing the leading hitter in virtually every category in baseball here in a 1-run game late. One and 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Vargas went 6 2/3, allowed 2 runs, the 2-run home run to Stubs, 5 hits, though the only ball that was hit hard was the home run. 1 walk. He struck out a season best 8.
103 pitches for Vargas, but That's what it takes, just something to ignite the offense. Just one good swing, and Drew Stubs did that. And now you're sitting here with 6 outs to go and just down by a run.
Jolie Chassin gave up the 3-run double in the second inning. Other than that, he was pretty good. 6 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, couple walks, 1 strikeout. Still not Jolie Chassin sharp. 3 and 2. But you give him credit in that it was the 1 inning and he kept his club in the baseball game.
In the last 2 innings, he did have the walk, but more typical of Chassin.
Strike 3, and now Culberson had thrown his bat away, and Bellino calls him out. And that pitch looked low.
Dan's not making a whole lot of friends in the ballpark.
Well, certainly not with Rockies. He's not.
Well, the Royals, in last half inning, that ball appeared to be down. And the way that it was caught, too, and pulled back up, it gave the appearance that it was even lower.
Rockies have struck out 21 times in this 2-game set. Something they haven't been doing this year. Here's Charlie Blackmon. And he hits this ball to left field. Gordon's there, 2 outs. 2 outs. Brandon Barnes will come up. Who wants tacos? Fans follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more for the Rockies taco special from Taco Bell. That was at 99, but it missed. The pitch he threw right there was a changeup at 90.
Well, 97, 98 on the fastball. You don't hear. Maybe you think back to Vargas. His fastball wasn't even 90. It was 86 to 88.
'99. 2-1.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices.
2-2, and he strikes out Barnes at 99. So Herrera works a 1-2-3 8th inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Kansas City. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, LaTroy Hawkins is on to throw the bottom of the 8th inning. Auto glass damage, call Safelight 303-287-5000. If you prefer, online at safelight.com. So LaTroy will face Billy Butler, Salvador Perez, and Alex Gordon, trying to give the Rockies an opportunity in what is a 3-2 ball game. It will be the 15th appearance for LaTroy. Second time he's been asked to come in on this road trip where it's not a save situation just because he hasn't had much work.
Right, and with the day off tomorrow, want to make sure that he stays sharp going into this series against the Padres this weekend, but also to keep this game in a one-run deficit to give your ball club a chance in the top of the ninth.
Billy Butler 1 for 3, punched a single to right back in the 3rd inning. And the fastball at 91's off the plate, ball 1. Do you see where David Ortiz, the league stepped in and awarded Ortiz another base hit in what was the one hitter by Yu Darvish? This to second. DJ's got it, 1 out. If you saw the highlights of Yu Darvish's near no-hitter, he went with a no-hitter, and I put that now in quotation. So there was 2 outs in the 9th inning, and then a hard ground ball through the shift by David Ortiz broke it up. Well, in the 6th inning, he had hit a high pop-up to short right field, that there was a miscommunication between the second baseman going out and the right fielder coming in for Texas, and they both looked at each other and it dropped. The official score, because it was already pretty late, handed out an error
to Alex Rios, the right fielder.
To the right fielder, Alex Rios. And you don't normally see, in fact, you almost never see a ball that's not touched called an error. I mean,
there was a mental lapse. One of them should have attempted to catch it.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a mental error, but you can't give an error because 2 guys look at each other when a ball obviously should be caught and don't make the catch. They did that there in the league in the aftermath. I wonder if the league would have done the same thing had he completed the no-hitter.
I think you have to look at it objectively and not say just because he would have had a no-hitter that we're going to leave the call stand. I still think it was a base hit. I mean, it was a blue base hit that should have been caught.
Right. Doing it now doesn't take.
No, because there was another.
Right.
He had a hit, as you referenced.
The same fortitude that it would be if they, after the whole celebration, came back a couple days later and said, well, actually, you didn't throw a no-hitter.
Our mistake.
That ball in the 6th inning, you can't give an error to it, and the official score should know. Boy, it'd be a tough way. I mean, look what happened to Armando Galarraga on the 27th out of what should have been a perfect game, which replay would have changed it today. Replay would have changed that. One ball, 1 strike on Alex Gordon. In the 9th inning, the Rockies will have 3, 4, and 5. Now, 3, 4, and 5 is no longer Tulowitzki. It's LeMahieu, Cargo, Nolan Arenado against Greg Holland. Shallow center field. 2 outs. The Ford Strike Zone is powered by Ford Cars, big MPGs, smart technology and unsurpassed quality. See what happens when fun meets the road. Ford, go further. 2 outs. And Pedro Sirocco for the first time in the ball game. He came in for Johnny Giavitella.
Sirocco was recalled yesterday when they put Omar Infante on the DL.
To second. And that will end the 8th inning. So Hawkins does his job. See if the Rockies can rally in the 9th. Down 3-2. Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Ram Trucks, the Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. The Rockies trailing 3-2, top of the 9th inning, just outside downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Let's go to our Denver studios and check in with Mark Stout. Mark? All right, Mark and Spilly, thank you. Greg Hollins completed his warm-up pitches, and he is the closer for the Kansas City Royals the last couple of years, and he's done a terrific job.
Well, last year, 47 saves in 2013, All-Star selection. Royals Pitcher of the Year for the 2nd straight year. "21 strikeouts for Holland in 14 innings.
Last year he averaged almost 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. DJ LeMahieu will lead it off. DJ takes strike 1.
It's unusual that he'll separate the ball out of his glove real fast. I mean, he holds the ball high and then he'll pull it out and leave it there for a second before he goes back into his glove. And then he delivers the ball to the plate.
"47 saves on a team that won 86 games last year. They had the #1 pen in the American League last season, and this is on the ground to short. Take a look at our CenturyLink link to what's next. Rockies will have a day off tomorrow, and then they'll open up a 3-game set against the Padres on Friday, another day off on Monday, and then they'll play the Giants Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon. No television Thursday afternoon, and then it is off to Atlanta, Georgia. Rockies will have their longest road trip beginning on the 23rd. 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Philly, and then 3 in Cleveland.
San Diego's coming. They'll come off the road from Cincinnati before making their way to Colorado.
Outside ball 1 on Gonzalez. Cargo had a base hit up the middle in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Thinking home run, Holland has allowed just 1 this year. 2-0.
Coors Field is available year-round for special events, and most area of the ballpark can be reserved. Call 303 Rockies for more information.
Didn't feed him the fastball. 2-0. And it's 2-1.
Carlos was geared up for the fastball. I think a closer would challenge you, but Holland reversed the book.
And Cargo lines this to left. It's going to drop, so the Rockies have the tying run aboard.
Smart piece of hitting from Carlos. He's knowing that they're not going to come inside to his power zone.
Now here's something else. Cargo's a great base stealer. He hasn't had many opportunities this year. He's just 2 of 2. Typically, closers don't hold guys exceptionally well.
No, they don't. But Perez can make up for some of that because he's throwing out 32% of the runners. So if you go, make sure that you get it on one of those high leg kicks.
Arenado checks his swing, and the pitch is called ball 1.
This is where you have to trust your base runner in Carlos. If he gets the jump to take off.
2-0. I'll tell you something interesting. Best counts, optimal counts to steal on, 2-0. You wouldn't normally think that's a running count, but players are successful 78% of the time. The only one better, strangely enough, is 3-0. Cargo not going, and this ball's fouled off. And 2-1, 1-2, we always think of those as running counts. 2-1, the success rate is just slightly below 70%.
Because the pitcher on those other counts is thinking, I need to deliver a strike. So he forgets about the runner, but he'll also think about mechanics. Okay, if I have to bring my leg up higher, that's okay because I can't afford to walk this guy.
3-1. What a find Greg Holland was for the Royals. He's a 10th round pick out of Western Carolina.
Not sure how many other guys have made it to the big leagues out of Western Carolina.
I thought he wasn't going to bring it to the plate. He walks. Arenado. 2 on, 1 out. And Justin Morneau coming to the plate. So the Rockies making it interesting here in the top of the 9th. Base hit by Gonzalez. A 5-pitch walk to Arenado. Again, auto glass issues. Trust Safelite. Go online to safelight.com or give them a call at 303-287-5000.
Morneau 1 for 7 previously against Holland.
And you say, well, 5 punch outs, man, this doesn't bode well. But at least there's a familiarity.
You know where the window of the ball's coming out of. You know how the ball reacts. Is it sinking? Is it straight? 4-seamer, 2-seamer?
And this is on the ground to short. And not a great feed. Safe at first. Kind of a soft feed to the second baseman, Sirocco, and Arenado really got into him.
And that's an old school takeout.
Yeah, good job by Arenado. And now the tying run with 2 outs 90 feet away, and it gives Stubs a chance.
The shortstop. Gets over there and then just short arms the ball, but Nolan goes into second base, slides right over the bag and takes out Sirocco. Does not get as much on the throw because of it, allowing Justin to keep this inning alive by beating it out.
Stubs has provided the Rockies with their entire offensive output today. A 2-run home run in his last at bat. Low, ball one.
Back in the 7th inning, took the fastball from Jason Vargas. Make no mistake about it, when it left the bat, everybody in the ballpark knew it was gone.
One and one. If Stubs can keep it going, Corey Dickerson in the on-deck circle to bat for Michael McHenry. And Stubs went 1 and 2. Stubs played in this division last year with the Indians.
They just only faced Holland one time when he was with the Indians, 0 for 1. Cargo's got to be ready at third base if they go back to that slider again. They've thrown it the last 2 times to Drew. Look for it down in the dirt.
The 1-2. He went. Ball game over. And the Royals survived 3-2 over the Rockies. They win last night 5-1. And they win this afternoon 3-2. It was a slider, and Stubs couldn't hold up.
Just the way that it was caught and how high Perez was in his stance.
Jason Vargas gets the win. He improves to 4-1. Chacin takes the loss. He drops to 0-2. And the Rockies, for the first time this year, have lost 3 straight. And they finish up the road trip a disappointing 2-5. Let's get into Denver. Standing by, Mark Stout and Ryan Spilborghs. Gentlemen.